Why do you think we should study overseas? What's the benefit for it?
Well, the biggest benefit is that you meet another culture and to see, okay, Germany is totally different than the picture you have when you are so far away, like when you are in Indonesia.
Yeah.
So I think for your generation, it's easier. It always depends on the people. And I must say that especially in Pekanbaru, they are really open on the level of administration with Zafrinaldi, with your rector.
Hopefully.
Yes, and Zafrinaldi is used to work abroad. He did his PhD in Germany, so he knows what it means to go abroad and what you can learn to be there. And so he's really open-minded. He gave us a lot of possibilities to do this project.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat datang teman-teman semua di program UIR News, Ruang Akademisi Mendedah Informasi. Di episode kali ini kita akan membahas tentang belajar dan berkuliah di luar negeri dan motivasinya untuk belajar itu apa saja. Untuk membahas hal tersebut kita sudah kedatangan dosen tamu dari Jerman yaitu Mr. Michael Bohne. Beliau akan membahas sedikit tentang dan memberikan masukan bagaimana persiapan untuk kuliah ke luar negeri, apa motivasinya dan apa manfaatnya. Okay? Do you think we can continue with English? Yeah, do you prefer
That
English?
would be nice. Sorry that I'm not
Of course, yes,
fluent
it's understandable.
in Bahasa.
Yeah, I think our colleagues here in UIR also need to learn in English as well. Okay, so I think we can start by letting you to introduce yourself, Michael.
Yes,
Go ahead.
I'm Michael Bohne from Fachhochschule Dortmund. It's a university in the west of Germany, close to the Dutch border. I'm professor for law. But it's not a law faculty, it's a faculty for business and international business.
Okay.
And I'm also off counsel in a law firm in Düsseldorf. So I have the practical part and the more theoretical part with the students.
Very interesting. Okay, Michael. So as I said to the audience, we're going to be talking about studying abroad and the motivation on it. So we're going to start from the simplest question there is. Why do you think we should study overseas? What's the benefit for it?
Well, the biggest benefit is that you meet another culture. It's not so much that you learn something about, for example, in law, about German law. Probably it's not so important for you. But it's quite interesting for you to have another culture, another surrounding, and then to meet with people from all over the world in a different country. I just can tell you from our project, from the German exchange program, where we had also students from Pekanbaru in Dortmund. And for them, it was really a great experience to come into contact not only with German students, but also with students from many other European countries and also countries from Africa, for example. And to see, okay, Germany is totally different than the picture you have when you are so far away, like when you are in Indonesia.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so I think there should be also some sort of benefits for the host country, in this case, German as well, right? When there are quite lots of foreign students studying in your country, what do you think the benefit for the host country?
Well, the benefit is that also our students get in contact with foreigners and that they realize, okay, they have a different attitude to solve problems or to study or of living. For them, it's really interesting. Also, when the friends from Indonesia came to us, for them it was a great opportunity to meet people from abroad and especially from Indonesia.
Yeah.
And especially to go to Pekanbaru or to come to a part of a country you were never going or you wouldn't go in future.
Yeah,
I haven't heard about Pekanbaru before.
Yeah,
I came here 6 years ago.
Right. Yeah, so when we talk about foreign students, I also read in an article that the Germany's universities have a quite significant proportion of foreign students over there. What makes you think that made it possible that the German education have that kind of big portion that foreign students studying over there?
I mean, a very, very big part of the foreign students are not really foreigners. They are more that we have a lot of asylum seekers in Germany, for example. I have
I
a lot
see.
of students from Syria now, and we have also a lot of students from Morocco and Tunisia and other Maghreb countries. So
Right.
we have also students coming from countries outside,
I
of
see.
course, and especially in the European Union, you have a program, Erasmus, where you have an exchange between the member states, and that's really easy. I was in Britain those days, 30 years ago, so a long time ago.
I see.
And it was quite easy because you have no formality, you don't need a visa, and so that was easy. But we have this big part of foreign students because we have a lot of foreigners already in Germany, and then they go to study. You see,
That is an interesting
they're
fact.
not real foreigners.
I see. Yeah, but I think that still make up some good new perspective for the German as well, because even though that they are asylum seekers, they are still bringing some kind of a new culture, new way of doing things in life. So I think that just somehow help the German to accommodate all of these kind of diversities, right? So I think I also would like to ask, when you think about studying overseas, do you think it's just for selected of students, or do you think that all of the students should at least try for the program?
I'm not sure. I mean, the general answer would be yes, everybody should try. But on the other hand, I think that when you don't have the wish to go abroad, then you shouldn't go.
I
I
see.
mean, you must be a little bit open-minded to go
Yeah, fair
outside
enough.
your own culture surrounding. You mean, especially when you go from Germany to Indonesia or from Indonesia to Germany,
Yeah,
you must be a little bit open-minded. You must know they do things different.
right.
For example, when we send students from Dortmund to Indonesia, they must know they have another culture, they have another behavior. It's okay because it's their country. They can do however they want to do things. And I mean, at least you need this openness in
Right.
a way. It's not that you should convince Indonesians or vice versa that they should be like Germans or that we all should behave like Indonesians. So
Yeah,
it's this
true.
open-minded you must have.
Yeah,
Like
that's
our
right.
Rand Rafli.
Yeah, that's good for him. Because yeah, I think it's also true that some people will have the initiative and therefore the effort will follow. But then sometimes for those that do not really have the intention in the first place, then they wouldn't put that much effort anyway, right? So I think it's some kind of bit of a both of the balance, right?
Yeah, true.
So when you think about some students studying overseas, what do you think needs to be prepared in terms of the academics, perhaps mentally, financially, or maybe the cultural differences that they will face?
I mean, for the young people, it's not so difficult to fit into other cultures. I mean, it's more
Yeah.
for the older. I mean,
Yeah.
because your generation, you have so many things in common with young students from other countries. You're using the same cultural tools like mobile phone, social media. So I think for your generation, it's easier to go abroad and to see, okay, in
Right.
general, life is in a way very similar. It's not so different anymore. Of course, you have the German culture, for example, or you have the Dutch culture also. But I mean, for younger people, it's really easier to go because they don't have so many prejudices against
That's true.
people from other countries, or that they think, okay, they don't behave the way they should do. So it's a question of the generation.
Okay, I think
that you will realize when you go abroad, it's much easier than you
Yeah.
thought before, that you must behave in a way. I realized when they come to Dortmund, for example, they thought, okay, we are Muslims and can we live in Germany, a Christian country? Then they come to Dortmund and they realize we have 15 mushallas
Wow, that's good.
in Dortmund. So, and when Professor Safrinaldi was there, he had a noodle restaurant where he goes every morning, and it's great. And he
Yeah.
enjoyed it so much. And when I look at my students, I would say 25% is Muslim.
wow, that's a
and
good number.
It's
Right.
a good number, and it's very specific in the west of Germany because we have the coal mines and we have a lot of industry. So a lot of Turkish people came in the past, and so of course they brought their religion and the culture. But I think when you are here and you thought going to Germany, probably your parents would be a little bit afraid. You come to a Western country.
Yeah.
I mean, roughly know the discussions with his parents, and they're all naked all the time. They have new girlfriends every day. It's totally different. Yeah. We have a lot of students with a hijab. We have a lot of students not drinking any beer or to have parties every day. And we have also the opposite. So especially coming to Europe, Western Europe, it's easier to fit in.
I think it's just
difficult.
Too bad that the media, especially the movies, is painting the wrong color towards some people's mind, that they have wrong prejudice against towards the Western countries like German, right? So I think that's one thing that needs to be tackled. But what you're saying is really motivating students, hopefully, to study overseas. Like you said, there are 25 or 45 musolas? Was it 45 or?
Yeah, no, 25.
25 musolas.
You can't say. We have some subjects like logistic, for example, where we have more foreigners or more Muslims, and you have something like international business, where you have to go abroad for at least 1 or 1.5 years. Julius, he studied. He was the first student from Dortmund coming to Pick-and-Bau, and he studied this international business. And there you have to go 1 or 1.5 years abroad. Of course, it's more expensive than, for example, economics. So you have more originally German students, let's say, but I have courses where I have more than 25% Muslim students, or where I have 1/3 of the girls have a hijab or so.
Interesting, yeah. I was about to say that when you said that there are 25 musolas in an area in Germany, I think that those are more musolas than we have in some places here in Indonesia. So I think that's another motivation.
It's a special situation at my university. We have a lot of universities, and I'm at a Fachhochschule. It's a university for applied science. And that's a special place for people with a different cultural background, like an average university, because it's easier for them to join our university. And of course, when you have a big community, all the others deciding where to go, and they see there are a lot of people originally from Turkey or so, then of course you join the same university. It's not that we have 25% Muslims in whole Germany. I would say we have 10-15%.
That's a pretty good number already. And I think when we are talking about the motivation to study overseas, like you were saying, it's going to be easier for the youth generation. And I also believe that the youth generation they already have the intention to study overseas. I think one of the main obstacles for them to start moving is financially. So what do you think to the solution for that?
That's the problem. It's really expensive, especially to go to Europe. I mean, when you go with this DAD grant to Dortmund, and we have only a few places every year, I think you get a little bit more than 900 euro. It's around $1,000, and it seems to be a lot of money, $1,000 per month. But you must see a student flat is 450. Then you have health insurance. Then you have, to cook, to eat, to travel. So it's enough money, but it's not that you can travel around all of the time. So the money, and especially in the case of Germany, it's also the language. I mean, German is really difficult for foreigners.
Oh, okay.
And so you have to study in English mainly.
Right.
And we have courses in English also, but not the whole.
Yeah, so I heard.
Yeah, not the whole curriculum is in English. So most of the time you will talk also with other students in English.
Yeah. I also
So
heard
it's not
from
so
you.
much to learn the language. That's why English-speaking countries, they have it much easier to find students to come. Britain or so. They can select the students coming because the people want to go there to learn English.
I see. Right. I think I'm gonna ask this. I think this is one of my favorite question. We already know that the students or the youth generation is already have the intention to study overseas, right? And universities are also more than happy to help and assist the students to study overseas as well. But when we talk about the government, what do you think that the government needs to support, needs to do in order to support the students to study overseas?
A very important point is that you have some mixed curriculum, for example, that you know, okay, when I go abroad and I do some courses there, I can transfer it into my home system. So that you don't lose the year or half a year, how long you're going, but that you can use it, that you can use the courses. And that's, just to come back to it, one of the points we want to develop in this German exchange program. In this DAD program, that we develop something together, that you can come back to your home country and that you can transfer it into your curriculum. So, and we have it in Europe. In whole Europe, you have the system that you have to accept when somebody did a test abroad or an essay, that you have to accept it in your home curriculum, but you don't have it internationally.
Okay. I think, that's going to be a really good input for the government because, I think in some fields like, say, medical faculty, it's kind of almost impossible, I would say, for you to study overseas for the medical fields and then coming back here and work as a medical workers here. That's quite a lot of homeworks for our government to do,
That's
I think.
true. And I think it's a good point to have this campus medica now. I mean, you have a part of your study more open than it was before. And probably you can say, okay, in this campus medica, you will also accept what the people have done abroad. So yet you see, on the one hand, it's campus medica, that you can go to other faculties at your own university, but that you say, okay, the same opportunity is to go to foreign universities, and it's also a part of your curriculum, of your study, of your final mark, let's say. And now at the moment, for example, we have even people from our student, they do their bachelor in Dortmund and they have their supervisor in Pekanbaru. So that's for the future, that you have this mixed teams.
Sure, that really
as supervisors.
It's gonna take some time and some effort for us to do so.
It always depends on the people, and I must say that especially in Pekanbaru, they are really open on the level of administration with Safrinaldi, with the rector.
Hopefully.
Yes, and Safrinaldi is used to work abroad. He did his PhD in Germany, so he knows what it means to go abroad and what you can learn to be there. And so he's really open-minded. He gave us a lot of possibilities to do this project. So I don't know that other universities are doing it the same way. It's very special in Pekanbaru.
I think to wrap up this session, I would also like to ask the last question. What do you think, what is your advice for the students that are currently considering to study overseas?
First,
very briefly.
It's helpful to learn English. That's the point. I mean, not the students coming to us, roughly, and also the others you send, they are perfect in English, but also for the others, you need a good language attitude. And then, yes, you must be open-minded. And it's not that we want to educate you. We won't change people in the way they live. Also on the other side, the people we send to Indonesia, for example, they are not Indonesians after, they are still Germans, but
I see.
They have this idea, and sometimes they will sit in the administration or in a law firm or somewhere, and then they will remember, okay, those days I was in Germany and I met a friend or I made an experience I can use now. So this is the benefit going abroad.
Okay, of course. Then I think that's gonna wrap up our session, Michael Bohne. We really appreciate for your time and presence here. It's gonna be hopefully helpful and motivate the students here in UIR on anywhere to start considering studying overseas or perhaps start preparing to study overseas for themselves. Baik teman-teman semua, itu tadi sesi diskusi kita dengan Bapak Michael Bohne dari Jerman. Terima kasih atas atensinya di episode kita kali ini di program UIR News, Ruang Akademisi Mendedah Informasi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.